Real talk, real people, relevant conversations. The I Am Kiana Skills podcast is dedicated to real conversations about issues, emotions, and experiences that affects the lives of everyday people.
I know that's right.
Welcome to the I Am Kiana Skills podcast. Welcome to the I Am Kiana Skills podcast, episode 15, sponsored by the Closet Experience Boutique and Delightful Cakes and Catering. I'm your host, Kiana Skills, and I have the influential Aquanet Cooper with me today, co-hosting.
Hey girl, hey.
Hey girl, hey. Today we want to know if the glass is half empty or half full. Hello, Aquanet. How you doing today?
Fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good.
Awesome.
All right, let's jump right into this episode and talk about the age-old debate of the glass being half full or half empty.
Let's do it.
Yes. Is the glass half full or half empty? We are weighing in on the topic that has been floating around for years, if not decades. If I was to place a glass with water in it and set it on the table and ask people around me their opinion on whether they consider the glass to be half full or half empty, I would more than likely get some people who will say to me that the glass they see is half full, while others will say the glass they see is half empty. There is no right or wrong answer to this question. Both answers are correct because they are not contradictory. The glass is half empty and half full at the same time. The focus of the question is not about the state of the glass, but more about the perspective of the observer. Got your thinking brains on out there in listener land. We're going to learn about perspective today. How you see the glass depends on your perspective and whether you are pessimistic or optimistic. Pessimistic people tend to see the worst aspect in any situation, whereas optimistic people will see the good in any situation. It all boils down to the mindset of the individual and how they choose to view life and the scenarios that come along with living life. You can either find happiness in chaos or you can be saddened by chaos. I know there is someone right now out there in listener land saying, I am trying to find my happiness, but I just can't seem to find it. I keep getting hit with one thing after another. They're out there saying that if it's not this, then it's that. Trust me, you are not alone. And it's okay to weep.
This is true.
Yes, but you better trust and believe that joy will come in the morning if you just dust yourself off and shift your mindset to believe that you can change your situation by doing little steps, such as speaking positive affirmations over your life, or by listening to positive and motivating sermons and lectures. Now, let's get something straight. The change may not be immediately, and it may not be instant. But if you keep trusting the positive mindset perspective, you will ultimately find joy and peace amongst your storm and your obstacles. See, oftentimes, we do not consider the words that we speak, that they have greatness and power. Let me say that again, y'all. The words that we speak have greatness and power associated with them. But life and death lies in the power of our tongue. So no matter what you see, the water, how you see that water in that glass that I was talking about, just know that if you see that glass half empty and you want it filled up and overflowing, you have to speak those things that are not as if they are so, to allow the blessings to flow unto you. Ooh, I think I'm in here preaching to the listener land today.
Too. Yes.
Somebody give me my holy water and my clergy, my clergy cloth or whatever it's called, because baby, I'm going to preach this thing right on out of today. So Aquanet, so if I was to ask you, if the glass is half full or half empty, what would be your observation?
Honestly, it depends on what I'm going through. So ultimately, I am a glass half full person.
Mm-hmm.
I have had many challenges in my journey, like most of us have, where the glass really does appear half full. It actually appears to be completely empty at times. So, but you're absolutely right in how we have to make sure to change that perspective. And again, in order to change your perspective, you have to make sure you're aligned with people that are already doing things and are already thinking the way that you desire to think.
Right.
If we continue to be around the same type of people that are thinking the same way we are, our perspective is never going to change. So, and as you said before, change might not be instant. The fact is, change is never instant. It is a process. And some of us don't like to hear this, but it is a fact. You know, I have my statistics, but it is a fact that we learn by repetition.
Right.
So even though our parents said, I'm not going to repeat myself again, yes, you are.
Right.
If you really love me, you really are, because you want me to succeed. So we learn by repetition. And the more that we hear something, the more we're around it, the more we actually become what it is we're around. So it is important for us to align ourselves with the right type of people, because this is what molds our perspective. So therefore, we may think something is half empty, but if we're around people who are always optimistic and saying, you know, but it really is half full. And I had to actually think about that for a second, because I have been around people, you know, some people just want to stay stuck. I'll just say that. So if you're always an optimistic person, sometimes those people, they think they're being realistic. I know they'll say, Aquanet, I know you're trying to be positive, but let's be realistic here. This is what's going on. But like you said, but tomorrow's a new day.
Right.
So we have to go ahead and speak that tomorrow is going to be a better day, even though right now it does look half empty. Let's just say tomorrow is going to be a better day. Doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be all the way full, but it could be half full.
Right.
So,
and I want to add that change is necessary. And I want to add to what you were saying. I'm one of those people to say, hey, let's be realistic. And I want to say my reality. I find myself sometimes saying, but this is my reality. Okay, I get what you're saying. You could speak positive to me and I'm going to receive it, but I want to tell you, but let me first tell you my reality so I can take your input and you can see also from my perspective why I'm saying this, why it seems like it's a negative. But I need you to understand right now, this is the storm and I hear what you're saying, but I still got to get to those steps to take to get to where you are to help me see that I'm going to conquer this storm.
Absolutely.
So sometimes I think we can be both.
That's right.
Pessimistic and optimistic.
We absolutely can. It just depends on how we choose for the outcome to be.
Right. Now, we talked about it earlier, how I overanalyze things. We had a little sidebar earlier before we taped it, or before we started recording this episode. And since you know I have a tendency to overanalyze things, you know what I did? I said to myself, it could depend on the initial state of the glass. So follow my logic here with me, Aquanet, because you know it's going to get a little crazy, but I need you to listen. And listening land, I need y'all to listen, what your good listening is. Follow this. It's going to sound a little crazy, but listen to this. If the glass started out empty and I was adding water to it until it was half full, then guess what my answer would be? It's half full. Now, if the glass starts out full and I'm removing liquid from it, I'm removing that liquid until it's half empty, then my perception is the glass would be half empty. You get my point, Aquanet?
I do.
You don't see, my little mind was thinking, it depends on the state of the glass. Why we already worried about, we're talking about the glass being set on the table with the water already in it.
Right. And that's a good point that you're making. And that also works in life also. If you're, okay, how can I put it? If you're actually the glass and you come from an environment where nothing has been poured into you, you're starting out half empty already.
Right.
But if you come from an environment where people have poured into you positive things, they've encouraged you, they've never torn you down, you're already almost full.
Right.
So your perspective is definitely going to be different. But like you said, everybody looks at the glass differently. Does it already have something in it or does it not?
Right. And then I told you I overanalyzed everything. So then my entrepreneur mindset was like, why are they arguing over the glass? What can I put on the glass to sell the glass? I mean, I'm just saying, like this age-old debate. And I get it because it's really a test to just figure out if a person, or they try to determine if you're pessimistic or optimistic, which, like I said, it's no right or wrong answer, because at the end of the day, somebody's perspective is never a right or wrong answer. Correct. It can be up for debate, but it doesn't mean that it's right or wrong.
Right.
So, let me go in this direction. Did you know that our attitudes have a profound impact on the way we respond and communicate with others? Our attitude is one of the few things in life in which we have total control. I'm going to say that again.
Yes,
Your attitude is one of the few things in life in which we have total control. So you have total control of your attitude. Now, I'm going there to say this. How many times have we said, such and such got me out of character? Because I know I'm guilty of that. They just made me. No, really nobody made you, because your attitude, that popping and rolling your head talking about your mama. Guess what? Just because Aquanet did something I did not like, didn't mean that I had to come back. I could have just said, bless you, baby, have a good day. You see that attitude? Instead of saying, yo, mama, I could have just said, bless you, baby, have a good day. And see how my tone is, and not how, y'all can't see me listening, but I'm rolling my neck, talking about your mama and pointing my finger.
Her finger's in the air, too.
Yes. So that's purity foolishness. You see what I'm saying? Because when you think about it from the perspective of, you have total control. Somebody can do something to piss you off, but guess what? You can choose how you respond to that.
Correct.
You have total control. Attitude is the way we look at life. It is the way we choose to see and respond to events, situations, people, and even ourselves. How do you respond to yourself? Because sometimes we're critical of ourselves.
Ooh.
So you have to be mindful of that. The attitude that you give yourself.
True. So true.
And our attitude is not something that happens to us. Think about it.
Say that again for me.
Our attitude is not something that happens to us.
Explain that.
It's not, because we choose it. It don't just happen, because you're choosing. You're making the choice. Your attitude is created by your thoughts.
This is true, and that was what I wanted to hear you say.
It gets created by your thoughts.
And how
you choose your thoughts. Yeah, because we choose it. You can't choose my thought for me. Now you might can help persuade a thought. My God. You can try to persuade a thought, but ultimately that thought is mine.
Yeah, and it was already there.
Yep. Because it's like this. Think about like an architect. You're the architect of your own frame of mind. Sometimes I think we forget that. We ultimately decide how we perceive, or how we will perceive and process the events that we go through in our work life and in our home life. We make the decision if our mindset is positive or negative. If we want to feel better, guess what we have to do? We have to think better. If you want to be healed, then you have to what? Think of healness and wholeness in your body.
Correct. Yes.
In order to be positive in the way we feel, it is necessary to be disciplined in the way you think. And y'all, sometimes I struggle with that, but I know that it's necessary, as I said before. Think about, what if I said, think about your attitude as an equation. And y'all know I'm thinking, probably overanalyzing, but I'm going to give you an equation. Let's see. What if I said, y'all, I'm thinking, probably making something up, as y'all know. But let's think about it like this, because I think I'm going somewhere good with this. What if I gave you the equation E plus, let's say, R plus O? So that's event plus response equals outcome.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
you're good. So that equation again is event plus response equals outcome. Ooh, what y'all gonna do with that? Aquanet, what you gonna do with that equation?
Oh my goodness.
What you gonna do with that event plus your response? Like, okay, let's say this. It's event plus response, which equals outcome. Then I'm just gonna throw a scenario in those spaces. So let's say the event,
I'm ready,
is going to be someone cuts you off in traffic. We're gonna keep it simple. They cut you off in traffic, then they slam on their brakes, then they jump in the other lane, give you the finger. What's your response? It's whatever you at that moment.
I'm just saying, now in 2023, my response is, well, I guess they got somewhere they gotta go. More urgent than I do.
So what do you think your outcome for you? What do you think by you responding that way? What's your outcome?
I'm actually gonna have a better day.
Woo, yes, Jesus.
Yeah.
She's gonna have a good day. Now, okay, you said the 2023. Let's go back to the
2013.
2010. You tell me,
Yeah.
tell me what that Aquanet would have done.
That Aquanet would have said, "Are you kidding me? Right now? Is this what we're doing?" A little bit of road rage, just a little bit, just a little bit. I mean, I don't like drive after people. I've been in cars where people do drive after people, but I would have rode beside them and just looked at them.
So what do you think after all of that? What would your outcome have been?
That would have actually made the rest of my day very chaotic.
Yes.
Very chaotic. It's like you're setting the tone on how you respond. That sets the tone to the rest of your day. Or the rest of your night, evening, whatever you
have
are.
going on. Yep. Whatever stage of life you're in, you set that tone. But you see how those two different, you grew, your perspective changed. And that's what this episode is about, that you're going to grow and change. The more you mature, the more your perspectives should be changing. What's that? Oh, goodness. What is the quote that they say? When I was a child, I spoke as a child. Y'all know where I'm going with that.
And now that I'm a woman, I put aside childish things.
Thank you. There we go. You know what I'm talking about. Somebody raised you right. Somebody raised you right. Yes. So basically, in order to have a positive and proactive attitude.
I like that word. Yeah.
Proactive attitude. You must be disciplined and deliberate about the way you see and think about events, situations, people, and yourself. That, you know what? I'm going to say that again. In order to have a positive and proactive attitude, you must be disciplined and deliberate about the way you see and think about events, situations, people, and yourself. Because you know what? The way you think drives the way you feel.
It sure does. It sure does.
Therefore, consciously managing the way you perceive and process events is essential to a positive attitude. Because, baby, when you negative, and we all, like I said, we all have been there. I'm not acting like all this I'm saying to you is because I had to think about in terms of this episode, what jewels that I can drop and give. And I'm going to keep it real. I may not always live by these. But guess what? I'm talking to myself in this moment because I do know that sometimes I have said negative things and spoke negatively over myself. But guess what? I know how to get it together real quick.
That's
because
good.
I know the God I serve is going to turn that thing around. To my believers, yes, out there, I'm a believer. I worship God. So to whatever you do, I just know that he's going to turn it around. Sometimes I may not see it, can't trace it, but I know as soon as I change my attitude, I start seeing the blessings and the benefits come to me.
That's the faith walk.
Yes, but I got to see it first. And sometimes I'm in doubt. I'm going to keep it real with y'all, like this podcast. Woo, sometimes I didn't think I was going to make it. I didn't think we were going to get to this episode. I thought maybe after 1, 2, or 3 episodes, it was a done deal. Like, it was just like, oh, this keep happening, this keep happening, blah, blah, blah. I'm just over it. But guess what? I was speaking negative. I just kept saying, I'm over it, I'm through with it. And my favorite word sometimes is, I'm just over it. So guess what? If you're over something, you're done with it through, right?
You've already spoken.
Yeah, so when did I speak? I spoke, this is done. Not done in a good way, like God says it's done. Because when God says it's done, you better be ready to jump for joy and high five and run around the room, because his done mean it's settled.
That's right.
But my done was a give up, I'm done. You see, that's 2 different perspectives. Ooh, yeah.
Defeat, the spirit of defeat. Yeah, we're not doing that.
So you see where I'm going with this.
Yes.
It's just like your perspective is so powerful. It's just, people don't understand. Sometimes I don't even understand.
And if I could say something right here, what I'm hearing is that you were very critical of yourself. And I feel like that's something, some of us are, people will call us perfectionists. People that overthink usually are perfectionists. I'm one also. And what I can say is, unfortunately, when we are very critical of ourselves, we've allowed the situation to take power. And what we have to start practicing and reminding ourselves is that, like you said, I have control of my attitude. I have the power to either make this situation feel better, even though it doesn't look good right now, but there's always multiple ways of looking at a situation. And sometimes God will actually show you that it's really not as bad as it seems. So with that being said, we just have to work on just taking the power back. And that starts by changing our attitude, which will later on set the tone for the rest of the day. And before you know it, it'll be the next day, a new day for new inspirations and new motivations. So.
Yeah, and you definitely do have to set yourself in a position to be around positivity. Because it's easy to get drugged into just filth and mess. Yes. And then next thing you know, you consume. That spirit done jumped on you.
This is true.
Because you around that type of wickedness and spirits.
Absolutely true.
And then you, like I said, I'm thinking another episode, you're not equipped to deal with that foolishness.
Right.
You done got all up in that foolishness.
That's right.
Like I said, sometimes you got to know when to reel yourself back in. There's a gospel song that I like. It just made me think about it. Encourage yourself.
Speak over yourself. Yes, ma'am.
So you have to do that. Because you can't be relying on, like, I can't rely on Aquanet to speak over me.
Correct.
She may not be willing to do that. I thank God that she is a person in her character. She would do that for me. But guess what? She could speak over me all day and talk positive affirmations over me. But if I'm not receiving it, guess what? What she kind of done was in vain until I wake up and say, wow, wait a minute. I get it now. I see why she said.
This is true. This is true.
What she said to me. She's speaking those positive words for me to see that you're not going to always be down.
That's right. That's right. And everything is temporary.
Yes.
When I tell you everything is temporary, anybody out there in listener land, if you're going through hard times, it's just temporary. When I tell you, I promise you, if you start looking at life, whatever the hard time is, looking at it as, well, this is temporary. That's a reality that all of us can relate to.
Yep.
It really is. We don't necessarily have to think of half full or half empty, but this is the reality that it is surely going to be temporary.
And stop making permanent decisions in temporary spaces.
We running. We taking off running. Go, girl. She done took off running. Come on back. Oh, my goodness.
Listener land. I told y'all
ran
I'm
up out of
preach this
here.
thing today. Sorry, I done ran around the studio. I'm going to preach this thing and y'all going to let me preach. Y'all, I told y'all.
That's right. Yeah.
Ooh, baby. Because I find myself doing it. That's why Y'all just don't know. Getting to this, some episodes y'all just don't understand. They speak to me.
Speaking to
because when
you.
you've been there, done it, you've been through some things, you can talk about that thing.
That's right.
Baby, sometimes I know I have made permanent decisions.
That's right.
In temporary situations.
That's right. Yes.
And why the heck did I do that?
Yes.
And guess what? What they heard someone say, was it my mom or my grandmama told me? Was it a bought lesson? It's a taught lesson. Well, okay, I'm probably not saying it right. But baby, those lessons, the ones that you F up your life with.
Yeah.
And you have to live through those moments. And you be like, I did that all for what? I went in debt for what? We all done been there.
Yeah.
Told you I'm not perfect.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if I tell y'all about, I never been. I always have liked nice things, and I used to like to dress, but it was never to keep up with the Joneses or whatever. But it was a point where my mama paid all my bills, and I would just run up credit cards, and she would pay them off. Then one day she said, "You gonna quit running up these credit cards, and I'm gonna quit paying them." So guess what I did, y'all? This is what I'm talking about. I'm gonna be real transparent with you. So in my 20s, I kept doing it. I had a full-time job. I've always had a full-time job since straight out of high school. I worked at Cigna Healthcare. And my mom was still paying my bill, paid my apartment, paid everything basically. So I basically had free money. I was a shopaholic. Like, y'all, I'm sorry, just a spoiled brat shopaholic. She told me, Kiana, I'm going to quit paying these credit cards, but you got to quit running up these bills. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. So I go out, get my own credit cards. Baby, max them things to the max. Learners. When I say I had every credit card you could imagine from back in the day, Rivergate Mall, it was a Learners. I guess they call it. They was Learners when I was shopping. Now I think it's New York and Company, whatever. Every store, I had just about a credit card. So where I'm getting at, just to make a long story short, she told me she was not going to pay those cards off there. She said, you have a full-time job. You need to be paying your bills. I said, okay, whatever. Well, if you ain't going to pay, I'm not paying all this. Because when I looked at them and started adding them, I'm like, this is a lot of money. So guess what I did, y'all? I went. Somebody told me, hey, you can just file bankrupt. You can just go file bankruptcy.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Keep in mind, y'all, I had money. Why did I go file that? I think it was chapters, whatever I did. But guess what? That was a permanent decision over temporary
situation.
Like craziness. But you know what? Let me go back because I remember now what I was trying to tell y'all. A bought lesson is better than a taught lesson any day. Baby, I bought that lesson.
Yes, you
but
did.
The beauty of it, like I said, I serve an awesome God. And I knew that I wanted a house. I was still living, at that point, I had moved into a townhouse and I kept saying, I'm going to get me a house. I'm going to get me a house. Well, I knew that I had that bankruptcy, but I was like year whatever in the bankruptcy. Y'all, when it was time for me to get with my realtor and we do all this stuff, well, I still got a good interest rate, y'all, because the God I serve. Y'all, I could tell y'all some things. Back then, I was going through, I've been in church for a minute, but I was really getting to, you know how you're in your 20s, you're really getting to know the Lord and you're really doing like heavy tither. I mean, I was doing it out. Like when I say, baby, he worked that thing out.
Yes.
Now, I ain't gonna act like, tell y'all like I didn't use my mama, because I did. She sure did give me that down, clothes, you know, my money. Yeah, she had to give me a little money. I'm not gonna sit here and act like she didn't, because she did. Y'all know, if you know me, you know I'm gonna tell all my truth. You ain't gonna get half. I ain't gonna act like, yeah, she did. But anyway, but that decision I made, because guess what? I could have paid them daggone credit cards out. I was just in my feelings. But what I did, my mama was like, you did what? And what's going to happen to the car? That car's in my name. But I don't know how we did it, what the lawyer did. They didn't touch my car. All I knew was them, like, it was just credit cards. I was able to keep my car. I think I had, what was I driving in? Y'all didn't have so many cars. I think it was the Ford Escort. Oh, and that was my baby right there. That Ford Escort 2-door gold, baby, with the spoiler on the back. Yeah. It was either that or Montero, y'all. I just don't forget. I don't know if I had so many cars from back in the day. But to make a long story short, I made that decision out of spite because my mama said she wasn't going to pay them bills. And But it wasn't my mama's responsibility.
Right.
I was using the credit cards that I ran up at that time was hers, the initial set of credit cards. Then I went out and got my own because she was like, I'm going to cut you off. Like,
yes.
no.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what we talk about. Those permanent decisions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All because of your perspective.
But my perspective wasn't right.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
But guess what, y'all? I was young. So, you know, I had a young mindset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But now I know better. And I'm doing better. I know better. I'm like, I'm not putting them, pretty much. If that check card can't get it, I don't need it. Unless it's a major purchase and you have to use a credit card. Now I'm like, I could care less about stuff. Because like I said, I'm older, I'm wiser.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
My big thing now is, honey, I'm still in my same home and almost, y'all, I'm almost at the finish line. So my biggest thing is, girl, no new debt.
That's right.
I don't give a care. No
That's
new
right.
debt. Pay this house off. Woo. And that's going to be my biggest flex to say, yes, I'm a true homeowner. Like people say, you know, we're homeowners, but I want to say I burnt my mortgage. I'm a true homeowner. I don't owe nobody.
That's right.
Because technically the bank owns your home. Until it's paid off, the bank really owns it.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, it ain't paid for. Because I stop making the payments, they going to kick me out. Who going to get it?
That's right.
The bank is going to get it.
Yeah.
So that's why I say I want true home ownership. I want to know we've burned that mortgage. It's paid for. I got the the title, the deed. I got it, baby. And it's right around the corner. And I'm not gonna do anything to jeopardize that. I just keep pushing and I keep speaking. We're gonna get this paid.
That's
like
right.
we're almost there. Yeah, I just
almost
had to,
there. Because why? The glass is half full.
Yes. I like that. Come on.
That's it.
Yes. You know what? A key element of mental discipline, though, is paying attention. Guess what I'm about to tell y'all? To managing your self-talk.
That's right.
Ooh, I said a word right there, self-talk. Have y'all ever heard of self-talk?
We're going to learn today.
Yep, you going to learn today. You getting to know me, you going to learn today. Self-talk is what you say to yourself about situations you're facing. So basically, we've already talked about that. It's how you speak over your life and how you choose to interpret and explain the events that are going on in your life and how you react to those experiences. Managing your self-talk is critical because words carry thoughts and thoughts create feelings.
Yes, they do.
Ooh.
Yes, they do.
What you know about that, Aquanet?
Oh, I know a lot about trying to encourage myself. Sometimes I have to actually encourage myself. I don't even say I say Aquanet. You got this. You're going to get this. It may look a little bit crazy right now, but you know who you serve, and he has always taken care of you.
Yes, Lord, my Lord today, my Lord today. So here's how that works. Your attitude begins with what you choose to focus on and those words you express that you focus on.
You can't give energy to the negative that's happening in your life.
Ooh, say that again. So my listeners need to hear that again. Our listeners need to hear that again. Our listeners need to hear that again. Let me correct myself.
Yeah, you cannot give energy to the negative parts that are going on in your life. You got to focus on what is actually, literally, what's going to make you feel better.
Yep.
That's what you have to do. That's where your focus needs to be at, because the more you focus on something that is detrimental to your happiness, no matter what it is, it could be a person, it could be a situation that's going on. The more you focus on that and not your own happiness, you will always be defeated.
Yes. A person with a default-driven negative mindset will focus on a situation and say something like, that's a stupid idea. It will never work. Girl, that's not going to work. That positive thinking you doing, girl, that's not going to work. You talking a good game. A person with a discipline-driven positive mindset will look at the same situation and say something like, that's a great idea. Aquanet, you got something going on. Or they may say, I'm not sure if it will work, but let's explore it further and find out. So they're being what? Optimistic. There you go. They're being optimistic about it.
And they're not creating doubt in the other person's mind either.
Because just because you don't see the vision that I choose to share with you doesn't mean that you have to be negative about it.
Correct.
Now,
or critical.
Right, or critical. Let's say that critical.
That's actually been one of my issues. I used to be very critical, but that was because I had no idea I was critical of myself. So it wasn't until I started speaking over myself and really believing what I was saying to myself that I was able to pour positive things into other people.
Yep.
And like you say, sometimes it's just how you word it.
Yeah,
and you just got to think about it before you actually... it comes out.
Yep, you really do, because no care for the difference in language between those two scenarios that I gave. There were just two different mindsets. The bottom line is your self-talk can either hinder you or propel you to greatness.
I like that.
Self-talk is either going to propel you to greatness or you're just going to be stuck, baby.
That's right.
It's going to hinder you. You're going to be in the same spot year after year after year. And you're trying to figure out, why am I in the same place?
Right, yeah.
Because you are not having the right self-talk.
That's right.
So if anything that y'all get out here, it's going to be self-talk. You got to have that self-talk, because what you see is what you're going to get.
That's right.
So what is it that you want out of life?
I love it, yes.
And see, this is oftentimes why you hear people say, like I was saying, what you see is what you get with it. But look how I'm finna flip this. This is oftentimes why you hear people say, what you see is what you get, with an attitude. So I'm thinking that's a negative one. Because how many times have y'all saw that you be like, what you see is what you get. I don't care. Because they have not focused on their self-talk enough to understand the power of it.
Correct.
Woo, y'all. Like I said before, there's power in the tongue. You going to speak life or you going to speak death. Which one you going to speak?
That's it.
How many times have you encountered someone where you were trying to persuade them to change their negative viewpoint, and they just kept saying, oh, well, this is how I am. You see, this is how it is. You know, that's the favorite one. Like it, love it, or leave it. Or what's the favorite one? Y'all know that favorite, oh my goodness, the one that everybody always say, it's my way or the what?
Highway.
Yes. Woo, child, y'all. This is like talking to a brick wall when you encounter these people. They just make you want to massage your forehead. It's like, Jesus, they don't get it. That's why that saying is, it's like talking to a brick wall, because they not hearing you. There's you're not really having a conversation with that person.
Right. That's not communication at all.
Because what? They haven't had that self-talk with themselves.
Correct.
So no matter what you do, they're not going to progress. Because what I say, they don't believe in the power of the tongue. Well, let me go back, because they might believe. They just believe that their reality is they're never going to have anything. They're never going to be great. Because they never seen what greatness looks like.
That's what I was actually going to add. And you know my favorite phrase. It's all about our environment.
Right.
And if we're around people that are like that, at some point we have to use our emotional intelligence and say, maybe I need to separate myself or distance myself from them, because what they're saying, I'm not agreeing with. And I need to surround myself by people who are like-minded.
Right.
It's very important to do that.
Yes, it really is. It's really crazy, because they are just stuck in a pessimistic mindset, and they are fine with that.
Yeah,
They're just fine with that. And you know what? It doesn't make it right or wrong, but at some point, it's like you said, if you've been knowing that person year after year, it's like, why are you still stuck? And like I said, that person is aging, so you're thinking to yourself, when you gonna get it? When is it gonna click? At some point, it needs to click.
And for some people, it just won't, because they don't want different.
Oh, yes, and I'm glad you said that, because you know what? I heard somebody, that's reminded me of what I heard someone say. I heard someone say that people don't want to be fixed, because being broken gets them attention.
Ooh.
What are your thoughts about that narrative?
Wait a minute. I think you need to reiterate that one more time.
Because, see, like I was saying, I once heard someone say that some people don't want to be fixed, because being broken gets them attention.
And it gives them passes.
Oh, yes. And going back to an episode that we talked about, because it becomes what?
Codependency. Yes.
And the other person becoming the enabler of that behavior.
Right. That's right.
Baby, we be teaching stuff over here. I hope y'all listening land be listening because we be teaching.
That's right.
We told you this is a podcast for real talk, real people, and relevant conversations.
That's right.
So y'all better get ready for this talk.
And we all know somebody that's been like that. We all know. I mean, some of us may have even been in that position ourselves.
Right.
So yeah, that's definitely something that people do to try not to be accountable.
Woo, that's that word again.
That's the word. About accountable. Yeah, they don't want to be accountable because let's just say they do get fixed. Well, now there's a standard that's been raised.
Yes.
And people aren't necessarily ready to reach that standard. But if you're around people that don't mind being held accountable, even if they're afraid of what that next standard is, they'll still go through it and walk through it because of their what? Self-talk.
Self-talk.
That's right.
Baby, that's self-talk. That's right. Listen, ain't gonna be going to work tomorrow talking about some self-talk. Self-talk. What your self-talk do, boo?
Okay.
What it do? I want y'all to start saying, what it do, boo? Kiana Scales podcast said, what this self-talk do? We just fooling around, but we want y'all to know that is so important about this self-talk. Like, y'all, the people that always want to play the victim, all that attention, they feel like it's good attention.
Yeah.
It's almost like the saying that, are people laughing with you or at you? So you got to think about it like that when you're playing the victim. It's something to think about, isn't it?
It is. It definitely is.
That perspective, baby. You got to start changing the way you act and quit saying, well, I'm old, I'm stuck in. Because we give a lot of old people pass, say they old.
You know, that's true. They say they can say some things like real off script.
Real slick at the mouth.
Real off script. Like, wait a minute.
They slicker than a pig out here, baby. They slicker than a pig. Sliding down like chitlin grease. Yeah, it's just one of those things, though, seriously, y'all, that self-talk, sometimes you need to learn how to encourage yourself. If you don't know how, everybody has that something. You should have someone in your life. And if you don't, that's fine, but you need to go find you somebody. If not, email us. What's the email address over here? And we can help you and give you some positive affirmations. What's the email we're using over here? I am Kiana Scales at yahoo.com, and that's IAMQIANA Scales SCALES at Yahoo. YAHOO.com. Y'all, I'm sorry, but yeah, I'm laughing, but I'm being real serious. If anybody out there needs words of encouragement, I'm gonna put myself in charge, and I can add Aquanet to those emails, and we don't mind. Like, I'm putting you on the spot. I'm hoping that you don't mind.
I do not mind.
That we will send you all some positive words of encouragement.
And if I could also mention, you were talking about words of affirmation.
Yes.
And I just want to be clear for the listeners in listener land. Affirmations are things that you desire that you don't already possess. Sometimes we think we're doing words of affirmation, speaking over ourselves, but we're just really being thankful for what we already have. So, and that was something that I actually learned last year, that affirmations or speaking words of affirmation, it's supposed to be something that you don't already possess, that you desire to possess. Because therefore, when you do get it, you do feel better about yourself. And I'm talking about abstract things, not necessarily anything. I'm not talking about like a car or anything like that, because we're talking about pouring into ourselves.
Right.
That's what we're talking about. So, and that also takes me to speaking over yourself just in general. There are always going to be times where life is going to be extremely difficult. Not always, but there will be times where life will be very challenging and difficult. But we have to know how to speak nice things to ourselves. And even doing something just as simple as what makes you happy. You know, I had spoken in another episode, I like to match.
Right.
And some people be like, well, that's silly. No, you call it silly, but that's what I know makes me happy. That's what makes me feel confident. So if I'm doing things that are actually going to make me confident, then those are going to be things that'll actually set the tone for my day. Even if it's listening to your favorite song every morning when you first wake up, as you're getting dressed for wherever it is you're going for the day. Those are little things you can do. And even if you are having a bad day, and I actually saw this on, I forgot what the name of the show was, but there was a doctor that was giving a list of things that people can do just so that they can stay encouraged throughout the day. If you're having a really bad day, the first thing to do is simple. Just put on your favorite song. You will be so surprised at how your whole attitude will change about the rest of your day just from hearing that favorite song, because you're pouring in things that make you what? Make you happy. And when you're happy, you tend to speak better things, not just for yourself, but for other people as well.
Just like when Pharrell put that song out, Happy.
Yes.
It had all of us singing and we were all so happy. If we could just go back to those times and think about that song and those lyrics. Heck, get up in the morning. If you don't know an affirmation, just play that song and just dance around in your mirror.
Right. Yeah.
That'll probably help you. That's a tip that I would give you. Just be happy.
That's right.
Sometimes, no, life is not great. You might got a bad diagnosis. You know, you may have lost a loved one. I just recently lost 2 loved ones. But guess what? I'm going to make it.
That's right.
I know I've got to get through it. Some days I'm okay. Some days I'm not. Some days I start crying in the middle of my day and just like, wow, can't believe it. I'm still in disbelief about my loved one. But guess what? I got to find that self-talk.
That's right.
To encourage myself.
That's right. Yeah.
You got to find beauty and joy in something every day.
There you go. And there's always at least one something.
Yes. And I'm going to say this. Sometimes I'm going to leave you just with maybe we just try a simple affirmation. This is just simple to start off out there in listening land. Just start every day by saying, every day in every way, I am getting better and better. Again, that affirmation is, every day in every way, I'm getting better and better.
I love that.
That is something you can start with.
I love that. I'm going to do that.
And I believe that everybody should probably write their own. Something.
This is true.
I'm going to challenge you. And then I want, if you all could email those to us at iamkianascales@yahoo.com, because I want to see what listener land, what y'all have for us. Or if you can go on to the, where are we at on social media? IG. And just under one of the posts, it could just be any post. It may not be this post or whatever. Just find one and just say, hey, I listened to What You See Is What You Get episode. And here's an affirmation that I wrote for myself. We just want to hear from you. We want to engage with you because we love our listeners out there in listener land.
Yes.
We want to hear from you. And we want you to know that you matter. That's why we have these real talks, these real conversations with real people. Because we know what it's like. You know, truth be told, most people want to be referred to as celebrities. I just want to be a down-to-earth person, somebody that people can relate to. I don't want to be like, I'm so up here, I'm untouchable. No, I want you to be able to be, or I should say, I want to be relatable. And that's all that matters. At the end of the day, if I reach one and teach one, I'm doing the Lord's work.
That's right. Yes.
So that is what I feel like this platform was designed for. I've said it before. This is what it's designed for us to be a positive light and share light and energy and new perspectives.
Correct. Yes. To promote better attitudes.
Yes, because y'all, it's important. We live in a time and a day where everybody's mad, everybody's stressed.
They're stressed, yeah, exhausted from life.
About something.
Yes.
You know it's a lot when you have overworked air pilots and with those pilots taking drugs, mushrooms, and you trying to stop a plane in midair, what is going on?
Ooh.
I mean, we have a lot. I mean, years ago, you remember the bus driver, wasn't he? I think that was Chattanooga. I might be wrong, but I want to say that was up in Chattanooga, Tennessee, where, remember that bus driver had those kids on? I think he was, he had a little alcohol going on. I think he was, he had, did he get a DUI or something? But I want to say there may have been some fatalities in that, but we just all going through so much. But if we could just speak positive affirmations and just know that we going to get through it somehow, you going to get through it. And stop doing, what did I say? Making permanent decisions when the scenario is just temporary. We got to stop doing that, people. I'm guilty of it too. But if we just stop that.
And as we speak more affirmations, I think it's good for us to even practice doing that with our children.
Yes.
Because the more that they understand the power that they have to control their attitude, like you said at the very beginning of the podcast, we will actually have more of an even-tempered generation to come. And balanced.
Yes. Yeah, because there's a lot of imbalance out there.
It is. It definitely is. But if we start pouring into our children early, and when I say early, I mean as early, as soon as you think about it, whether your child is in the womb, whether your child is in school, just do it. Just keep doing it. You have to speak over your children just like you speak over yourself.
Yes. I'm glad you shared that with listener land, because they needed to hear that. Because your children need to also experiencing you speaking to yourself, because they're going to adapt to what you're doing.
Absolutely. That's
so
right.
if you speaking those affirmations in the morning, grab little John and Jill and get them right on in there. Because once you get it going, then have them to speak. So when they get to school, they know, whatever, no weapon against me shall prosper. I'm more than a conqueror.
That's right.
Speak, Kiana, speak. I'm doing
right.
the best I can. I stole that little line from my bishop, Bishop Walker. Shout out. But
Amen,
yeah.
amen.
Amen, yes. But y'all, it is so important, because I like how I almost forgot about them kids. You know, a lot of people say, you know what they say about them kids, and them community, like, them kids. But no, we over here, we love the kids.
Yes.
We do. It's important that they grow. And I'm just going to throw that affirmation out there again. If you're just now tuning in, wake up tomorrow morning and say, every day, in every way, I am getting better and better. Every day, in every way, I am getting better and better.
Make a chant out of it.
Yes, you can.
You sure can.
And like I said, write your own, what fits your life, but speak positively over yourself and your situation. And I bet, no, I don't bet, I know. Guess what? That outcome is going to be a beautiful thing, because the sun may not be shining now, but there's a bright side somewhere.
Every time.
When in your wait.
Every time.
Ask and pray. There's a bright side somewhere.
That's right.
Thank you again, Aquanet, for being my co-host on the I Am Kiana Scales podcast.
My pleasure.
Real talk. Life is an echo. What you send out comes back. What you sow, you will reap. What you give, you will get. What you see in others may also exist in you. Do not judge, so you will not be judged. Radiate and give love, and love will come back to you.
Every time.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to the I Am Kiana Scales podcast on YouTube and Spotify, and follow I Am Kiana Scales on IG and TikTok. Also download the Streets 99.3 app. Ladies, are you looking for the hottest fashions and accessories? Well, look no further. The Closet Experience has you covered. The Closet Experience has been delighting women of all ages and sizes since 2009. Visit theclosetexperience.com and save 10% with code PODCAST. That's PODCAST. The Closet Experience Boutique, where fashion and budget meet. The Closet Experience Boutique, where fashion and budget meet. Looking for homemade taste with a touch of elegance? Visit justadelight.com and let Delightful Cakes and Catering cater your next event or special occasion. Delightful Cakes and Catering, where homemade taste meets elegant simplicity. Real talk, real people, relevant conversations. The I Am Kiana Scales podcast.